Good evening. Welcome to the REDI Commission. For all those of you that haven't been here before, we welcome you. REDI stands for Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and we're thrilled to have you all here tonight. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the roll call.
You didn't want to do the flag salute?
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the flag salute.
I know you're trying to get out of here.
Thank you. Now we will do the roll call.
Yes. Commissioner Deutsch? Commissioner Eventhoff? Vice Chair Faulkner?
Here.
Commissioner Lectors is absent. Commissioner Pastorian?
Here.
Chair Steed?
Here.
And Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And do we have any public comments this evening?
We do not.
Great. Thank you. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and approve the action minutes from June 7th. It seems like 3 years ago. So if we can have a motion.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll go ahead and take the roll call. Okay. So I have a motion from Commissioner Wilson and a second from Vice Chair Faulkner. Commissioner Deutsch? Yes. Commissioner Eventhoff?
Aye.
Vice Chair Faulkner?
Aye.
Commissioner Pastorian?
Aye.
Chair Steed?
Aye.
And Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you.
All righty, and we're going to move right along to the business of the evening. We're going to receive presentations from the city and community stakeholders regarding availability of food and nutrition programs. So Director Joel.
Yes, thank you, Chair Steed. Tonight we have a series of presentations. Two are going to be in-house from our Community Development Director as well as our Public Works Director. So those two departments will be represented. And then externally from the community, we have the Community Mission of Hope, Food Pantry, as well as the Western Eagle Foundation is also here. And so you're going to hear a little bit about the food programs that they offer, some of the SB 1383 requirements from our Public Works Director. And your job tonight is to provide, number one, identify any gaps that you hear. So for example, last year you all identified several groups, segments of the community that may be underrepresented groups in the community. So when you're listening to these presentations, think about how we can go ahead and not only help raise awareness of the programs that are available, but also identify any gaps. Some of these programs are available year-round. Some of them are available just during the holidays. If you remember, there's several civic groups as well, Rotary, Kiwanis, that do programs during the holidays as well. So we are looking at the big picture here, not only necessarily for the holidays, but beyond as well. And again, this is going to be tied into the city's SB 1383 program as well. So with that, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you, and you can call them up one at a time.
Okay, wonderful. We will go ahead and we will start with the Community Services Department.
Yes, I'd like to introduce, come on up. Yeah, I'd like to introduce Community Services Manager Yvette Martinez. Yvette has been with the city for how many years, Yvette?
10 years, actually.
10 years
Yeah,
now. Oh, my goodness.
10 years. So.
And she has been running our senior center and our senior services in general, including our senior lunch program. She also runs our inclusive services division. And when the MRC opens, she will be managing that facility as well. So Yvette has her hands full. She has an excellent team. And perhaps later in the year, once the MRC is open and we've kind of got everything running smoothly, we'd like to bring her back to you, maybe if you have an interest in that and hearing more about the programming that will be available over there as well. So for now, I'll just turn it over to Yvette.
Thank you, Erica, and good evening, Chairperson Steed and members of the REDI Commission. I'm happy to be here this evening. I'll be sharing with you the various nutrition programs that we offer as part of Community Services Department. So, as many of you are aware, we offer a daily senior nutrition program at the Mary Phillips Senior Center. Currently, we are offering this program at the Temecula Community Center while the senior center undergoes its renovations. And just to give you a little background on the senior nutrition programs that we offer, these programs are made possible through the Older Americans Act. The Older Americans Act is dedicated to serving the nutritional wellness and social needs of older adults. And so the senior nutrition programs are administered by the California Department on Aging, offered through the Riverside County Office on Aging. So what services are available to Temecula seniors? So currently, the Riverside County Office on Aging offers 2 nutrition programs: the Congregate Meal Program, which we offer at the Mary Phillips Senior Center. This is a community-based program providing daily meals to seniors in a group setting. And then they also have the Home Delivered Meal Program, which delivers meals to isolated seniors who may live alone or who might otherwise be homebound due to illness or disability. Both of these programs can be accessed through the Office on Aging or simply by reaching out to us at the Senior Center. So here you will see our seniors happy and thriving at the Senior Nutrition Program at the Mary Phillips Senior Center. We serve seniors 60 years and older Monday through Friday. We also provide a daily ADA accessible round-trip transportation services to and from the Senior Center. Our goal with our transportation program is to ensure that our seniors have access to healthy meals, social opportunities, and human connection. And so this transportation program is very unique within Temecula Valley. It is a free service to Temecula residents, and we have 2 vehicles, a 30-passenger bus, as well as a 14-passenger electric vehicle. So very, very vital program for our seniors. And over the last couple of years, the program has grown, and we've seen an increase in participation since returning back from our curbside meals. We are serving on average 500 meals weekly, and so far this year, we have served 15,000 meals, senior meals to the community. And so prior to the pandemic, we were serving on average about 30 to 40 meals daily. And post-pandemic, we are up to 100 meals daily. So we've seen quite an increase there. So in addition to our daily nutrition program, we also offer various essential food resources to support the needs and independence of our seniors. We are able to package and distribute weekly food boxes provided by local faith-based organizations. Thanks to the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, Chuck Washington, and Western Eagle Foundation, who's here today. They've made it possible so that we can provide our seniors with free food box vouchers, and so we appreciate their ongoing support. We also partner with the County of Riverside and their Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. This particular program provides seniors benefits, allowing them access to fresh produce locally. And if you haven't already been to our community garden, I would encourage you to stop by when we open back up in the fall. Our community garden has definitely been a great resource to us, especially in times of need. And so our seniors are definitely benefiting from our seasonal harvest at the garden. We also partner with the local VFW Motorcycle Club, and so they put on an annual spaghetti luncheon for our seniors. They look forward to that every year and never miss it. And during the holiday season, we partner with the Rotary Clubs of Temecula Valley, and not only do they distribute Thanksgiving food baskets to our seniors, but they also host our traditional community Christmas dinner at the Senior Center. So I know Commissioner Wilson is there every year with her family volunteering, and so they provide a warm meal and fellowship to really anyone in the community who wants a place to go on Christmas Day. So very appreciative of the support we get in the community. So moving on to our child nutrition programs. So the City of Temecula offers a summer food service program, also known as FSSP. We currently operate the summer meal program at 2 sites, the Mike Nagar Community Park, and now our very first year at the Rotary Park. This program was established to ensure that children continue to receive nutritious meals when school is not in session. So this program is a federally funded, state-administered program operated by local communities such as City of Temecula. So this is our Mike Nagar Park. This was our very first site, and we are now in our 7th successive year of serving meals at this location. We serve meals 3 days a week at this park, and today was actually our final day of serving meals at this park. So we had a great summer. This is a very busy site, I'm sure, as you know. We average approximately 200 meals daily there, 600 meals a week. And so, as you might know, the splash pad really draws a larger crowd to this particular site. But I think over the years, we've really been able to reach more families who benefit from this program. So we are happy to see the impact it's making with our families, and we're excited to see where it goes next year. So the Rotary Park is our second and newest site this year. Rotary Park is the city's second eligible site in Temecula. As a sponsor of the program, we use school data to determine the SFSP site eligibility. And so there are 2 schools in Temecula, Temecula Elementary School and Vale Elementary School, who are both eligible sites for summer meal programs. So for this particular site, we are averaging between 80 to 100 meals weekly, twice a week. And tomorrow we'll actually conclude our final day at Rotary Park. So it's been a great summer. Over the course of 8 weeks, we've already served 5,440 meals in an 8-week session, so a lot of meals. So we are very grateful for the support and the opportunity to make these meals and programs available to the community. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our staff. We operate a self-prep site, and so we're not vendorized. We have an incredible team of staff who are preparing meals daily and doing it with a smile, and they do such a great job. And so thank you to Cecilia, Cassandra, and the rest of our team who make this possible. So that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You guys do an amazing job. You have quite a team. Very, very good. Anybody got any questions or comments? Adam?
First question would be, as far as food prep, do you take volunteers not just during the holidays, but just every week, anytime?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. We do. We take volunteers not only for senior nutrition, but also for summer food service program, and then throughout the year for our activities and programs at the facility too. And that information can be found online or by simply reaching out to the senior center for more information.
Another quick question,
Yes.
which is, if you have folks taking advantage of this, are you linking it to other social services that the county offers or the city might offer, or, they may need it? And I was just-
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of our outreach efforts. So we do reach out to minority groups and grassroots organizations like Disability Sports Foundation, county social service offices, RUHS, TVUSD, to make sure that they have the information and that members of their communities are aware that this program is available to them.
And final question, which is, how do you get the word out? If senior may not be adept at using the internet, may not have a cell phone, they may,
Right.
who knows what kind. How do they hear about it? How do you
Right.
reach to those hard to reach folks?
That's a great question. Other than our reaching out through our social media outlets, and your question is actually for those seniors who don't have access or don't use the computer. Well, we try to get the word out through their neighbors, through their family members, and I think by partnering with so many different agencies in the community, we do have a senior connection partnership with a lot of service providers, and so they're made aware of our programs, and they share it with their participants and their members, and so that's one way that we are able to get the word out to our seniors. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, actually, it's a statement. I just wanted to say you have a well-run machine. Your staff is fabulous, and I've interacted with them, and they always serve with a cheerful heart, a smile all the time, very, very accommodating. So I love that.
you.
I've seen some of your staff out and engaging with a lot of them, and you can just tell the people, the seniors that they're helping, and even the children, they're right there with a smile too, because they know that they're being well taken care of. And I've also been at Mike Nagar Park when you're serving
Yes,
those
you
kids,
have.
and it's like massive
Yes.
of kids there.
Yes.
So I'm really glad to see that the Rotary Park now is a new location also. And what system did you guys use to determine that that was an underrepresented area or just a low?
Yeah, so that's a
area.
great question. So we actually go off of the California Department of Education. They maintain a list of schools with students and their poverty data. And so those two schools are eligible because they 50% of their students receive free or reduced meals. So according to the data, Temecula Elementary School has 60% of their students who receive free or reduced meals, and Vale Elementary has 49.9%. So those are the only two sites in Temecula that qualify and are eligible.
And that's good. That's a good thing that only 2 sites qualify
Right.
for that, because I was a recipient of free lunch program too growing up in Chicago. So when you said that, that was near and dear to my heart, because I remember those days.
Yeah.
And some days you don't know if you're gonna have a hot meal or a cold meal.
Right.
So for that to be a new program, I applaud you guys for that. And if there's anything our REDI Commission can do to go out there when we start up again and to serve them or to do clean up, whatever you need, I can speak for my commissioners because I know they have a heart of giving. We would love to do that.
Thank you,
All right,
absolutely,
thank you.
thank you.
Commissioner Faulkner?
Yes, just 2 questions. First of all, great job.
Thank you.
And you always do an amazing work. And the second, special needs and handicap, those that don't like being in crowds, is this some type of special way of getting them in a space where they can receive the free lunches?
Yeah, absolutely. We
Yeah.
do accommodate them. In fact, we also run a social skills program at the Mike Nagar Park that happens the same time as
Yeah.
summer food service. So we allow children who might have difficult time waiting in line, because the lines do get long, and so we have a separate, well, not a separate line, but we allow them to come to the front of the line to get their meals. And so we've been with the program for so long that we've identified those groups. And so, they come every year. And so we usually we allow them to come to the front of the line and accommodate them in that way, so.
Okay. And the other question I had is for our homeless in the area, how are they distributed food and how they get access as well?
I'm sorry, for the
The
homeless?
yeah.
That would maybe be a question for Erica.
Yeah, so, and I'm certain Community Mission of Hope may wish to address this further as well, but there's a food bank on Ryder Way that provides food supplies to people who need it, who don't qualify for this program.
Right.
So the summer food service program, since it's an expansion of the school lunch program, is eligible for minors and then any adults with disabilities.
Gotcha.
But people outside of those categories can still access
The
food through
food
the
bank,
food bank.
yeah. Okay, thanks, Erica. Thank you so much. Highly
you.
inclusive program, so appreciate you coming here
Thank
presenting. Thank
you.
you.
Okay, Crystal?
Thank you. First of all, let me commend you on your self-prep. I know how hard that can be. The process to get everybody certified within Riverside County to be able to serve and prepare food is not an easy process sometimes. So I definitely applaud you for being able to do that. That is something to be said. My colleague over here, Adam, had a great question in terms of getting the word out to the senior community who may not have access to some of the technology and social media. I also had that same question, but I thought, as we're having a discussion and dialogue, some of the options in terms of maybe papering would be potentially Angel View or Salvation Army are areas that we know our families sometimes like to take our senior community members, as well as some of our local antique stores, because there is something very triggering about being able to go into those stores and feel a sense of comfort and warmth and all of that from years before, right? So in terms of maybe getting the word out to our senior community, that might be an area that we can paper to be able to take home and start to spread that word for the program. I also, in terms of my colleague, Mr. Faulkner, as well, brought up a great point in terms of the disability, and I'm wondering what is their the logic or reasoning behind perhaps not being able to provide home deliveries to our families that can't leave because of a disabled child versus a adult who can't leave because they are disabled. So going to the front of the line, I totally understand and get that certainly helps bring down some of that hypersensitivity, but if you have a parent who can't even get there, how do we close that gap?
Right, that's a really good question. This particular program, because it is a state-funded program, this is not a delivery program, it's a congregate site program. And so that would be something we would need to look into, and we'll definitely go back and see what options we might have for families who might not be able to make it to the park because of a disability.
Yeah. I think that might be an area that I
Okay.
would assume if they were a full-time caregiver in that
Right.
sense, how do we meet them where they are?
Right.
Right. And with that same notion, Denise had a great, Commissioner Wilson had a great comment in terms of being able to partner with schools and get that information out. And every child is receiving free meals for, at school, which is great because there's so many kids that parents are working and they just run out of the house and they just don't get those opportunities, and the school has definitely worked to close that gap. And being able to even look at some of our basis communities, for the after school might be an area to also provide awareness to those families, because they're the ones who parents are having to get up and go super early in the morning and they come home late. So just in terms of identifying groups, those would be some places to target.
Absolutely, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
Commissioner Deutsch?
I don't have a lot to say. I learned so much from your presentation, and I'm really grateful for what you're doing out there. I just want to echo what Commissioner Wilson said, that if you need anything from us, or if we can find a day that we can come down and help, I think that we would, I'll speak for me, I would, and I think I'll bring them along. We would love to participate in what you're doing. It's amazing, and we are super
Thank you.
grateful for all of it.
Thank you, we would love to have you, thank you.
Great, and I just have two things. I have been at the park also with you
Yes, you
guys,
have.
but my big takeaway is we go places all the time and people are grumpy and it's just really hard to deal with. The city employees are never grumpy. They always have a beautiful smile on their face, and it's just so welcoming and it's so wonderful to see. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And the second thing is, here at the REDI Commission, we've spoken about Pujol many, many times. So I'm really excited that Rotary Park was added to your places of giving out the meals. So congratulations to you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for another year of a job well done.
Thank you.
And we look forward to helping you again in the
Thank
future.
you so much. Appreciate the opportunity, thank you.
All righty, next we have the Public Works Department.
All right, well, I think my presentation is queued up or will be here soon. Good evening, Chair Steed and Commissioners. My name is Pat Thomas. I'm the Public Works Director and City Engineer, and it's my pleasure to be here with you this evening. And I'm going to be speaking on, as Ms. Joel mentioned earlier, some state legislation that was passed about 6 years ago, known as Senate Bill or SB 1383. And let me just take a poll. How many of you are familiar with that legislation? As a gas company representative, I agree, and Eric. And that is legislation that has multiple programs involved with it, but one of the main programs and kind of the main reason for the legislation is to divert organic matter from the landfill, because when that matter goes to the landfill, it decomposes and generates methane gas, and that's a pollutant. So the state passed this legislation to create programs to divert organic material from the landfill. And before I get into the food part of that program, the legislation required that all cities require diversion of organic matter from the landfill as part of the trash stream for all classes of customers, for solid waste and recycling customers in the city. And we've worked with our franchise solid waste and recycling franchisee CR&R on implementing that program. So now at all of your homes, your way of recycling your organics, your greens, that all goes in your green can, and then your food waste now is supposed to also go in your green can or anything else that's organic. So that material doesn't go in your trash can, that goes in your green or your recycling can, and then that gets recycled. And that applies to all the commercial trash customers in the city now. We were required to, by the end of last year, to have that program in effect for all residential and commercial trash and recycling customers in the city, and it is now in effect. They all have that service provided to them. And so that material, that organic material, goes into a green bin or a commercial recycling bin. It then gets taken to the CR&R organic anaerobic digester facility in Paris, goes through that facility, and in the process generates methane gas. That methane gas is captured and used for fuel for the trash trucks, so it is reused, and then the end product is basically a compost, and they're able to actually sell that to home improvement stores and places that can then use compost for a beneficial purpose. So that's kind of the background to the legislation and one of the main components. And then one of the other components of that legislation was that the agencies also have a edible food recovery program within the jurisdiction, and then there's also a procurement program that requires that we procure a certain amount of organic recycled material, and that's not for our discussion this evening, but I did want to talk about the food recovery program and the mandate that is in place for that now. So the legislation, SB 1383, required that by 2025, that throughout the state, 20% of all of the edible food that would have otherwise be sent to the landfill be recovered and then used for distribution to the food recovery organizations. And then you've got CMOH and Western Eagle here this evening that'll be talking to you about their programs for distribution of that food that's recovered. So the requirement is that the jurisdiction of the city have a program in place that we basically track how much edible food is being generated by the generators, and that we have edible food recovery organizations, and that we basically have enough recovery organizations to accommodate all of the edible food that's being generated by the generators. So that's essentially how the legislation is and what the city's role in that is. So what we've done is, and we're really kind of in the infancy of this program, the first phase of the program, it was required that be in effect by the end of last year, 2022. And that really involved just what are called the Tier 1 generators. And I've got a slide here that describes the different tiers of generators. But it required that by the end of 2022, last year, that we have an inventory of all of the Tier 1 generators and a inventory of the food recovery organizations, and that we basically match them up and make sure that we've got enough recovery organizations for the amount that's being generated. We obtained our data, and really that's kind of the city's role in this program, at least up to this point. It's just kind of data collection. So we obtained our data from, I'll get to that in just one second. This slide shows you the difference between what are called the Tier 1 and Tier 2 generators. So you can see the Tier 1 generators are really the large grocery stores, Costco, wholesale food outlets. So those are the generators that were required to be basically like inventoried by the end of last year. And so we did that. We've got a list of those generators, and then we've got, and how much edible food that they generate, and then the recovery organizations, and we'll be reporting that to the state to meet our obligation for the Tier 1 part of the program. And then the Tier 2 part of the program, which doesn't go into effect until next year, involves the smaller restaurants and, in this case, like schools that serve meals that have potentially edible food that is not used, and be able to inventory all that, and then again match those up with the food recovery organizations. So that's going to be a much bigger task for us is to be able to work with all of these now smaller organizations. The Tier 1 generators, we have about 15 of those in Temecula, so not that many, so it wasn't that difficult to really find out, their programs and what they do with their edible food. They report their edible food that is usable to an organization, a regional organization, and actually I think Feeding America is actually a national organization, but they do have a Riverside San Bernardino branch, and so that information got reported to Feeding America, and that's where we obtained the data, was from Feeding America. And then they have partners throughout the county, throughout the region, and CMOH and Western Eagle, I believe, are partners with Feeding America, and they work with them in terms of the reporting of the material that's available and collected and then distributed throughout the community. So based on the information that we collected, there was 390,000 total pounds of edible food that was collected from the Tier 1 agencies last year, and then that was collected and provided to the food recovery organizations, and they distribute that to their patrons at their different food banks and locations that they use for their outlets. So that's the Edible Food Recovery Program that is a mandate of SB 1383. And like I said, we're really kind of in the infancy of the implementation of the full scope of the program, but we have done the Tier 1 generators, and we've identified who the recovery organizations are, and we believe we have enough capacity for recovery as there are for generation now, and then we'll be moving into the Tier 2 program later. One of the aspects of the program that we're a little bit behind on is that we are supposed to have lists of all of the recovery agencies on our website, and we don't quite have that set up and running yet, but we are in the process of doing that, and that'll be part of our website of information here sometime in the not-too-distant future. So that is my story.
Who knew?
And
Public Works does all this too. Man of many hats. All right, commissioners, any questions, comments? You do. Do you need a minute, Crystal? Stacia, are you good?
My question's about the initial recycling. And this is just personal. We live on an equestrian property where we don't have a recycle bin, we have a dumpster. Why is that? Do you know?
are you within the city limits?
Yeah.
You must be. So you're then kind of looked at as a commercial customer in that case.
Can we have a recycle bin? Could other commercial properties like us
Absolutely.
have a recycle bin?
Matter of fact, you're supposed to,
I'd
actually,
like to spread
based
the
on
word
our.
amongst my neighbors. Okay.
So, yeah, and they can provide what they've done for many of the commercial businesses that don't generate a lot of organics is rather than giving them another big, dumpster, they actually give them a cart, like the residential carts. And they can use that for their food waste that then gets collected and recycled at the anaerobic digester.
But you can have both?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm making a call. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
so you should be able to order that from CR&R, and they'll bring you out a cart, and then they'll put you on the route to pick that up.
Okay, great, thank you. The rest of the program was really amazing, so that was why. That was why, because I want to be part of it. I don't want to be separate from it anymore. So thank you.
I've now been able to figure out my thoughts. It's been a long day. So I'm curious on, first of all, what you do is incredible. What is your timing in terms of the Tier 2 and balancing that with the food recovery? Where's that in the plan?
Well, we're just really kind of getting into that and getting the inventory of the Tier 2 generators, and so we'll be making contact with them to request that they report to us how much edible food that they generate, and then we'll be working with the recovery organizations to hopefully be able to match those up. But being that there's quite a bit more of the Tier 2 generators, it's going to be a bigger challenge to be able to track all those and be in contact with them and be able to actually get them to comply.
Yeah, I could imagine. I was thinking the Tier 2 must be that number is much larger.
Yes.
So the other question I have is more, I guess, curiosity, really. So as your tier ones are moving into the recovery phase, how and what does that look like in terms of timing, transportation, and moving those edibles foods over to the recovery location, and the timing in terms of preservation and making sure everything's still good? What does that look like?
Well, I'm going to ask the next speakers to cover that with you because they're the
Okay.
ones that actually do it.
Okay.
all,
I love
all
it.
we've done is to really just gather data on how much is actually being generated and then recovered. And then the other thing I'd like to add is they're actually, and the folks from CMOH and Western Eagle may already be aware of this and actually engaged in it, but there actually are some grant programs through Cal Recycle, the state Department of Refuse and Recycling, that those organizations can apply for in order to improve their ability to collect the material. So so that's one thing that we're going to explore a little bit more in terms of, if we need to try to bolster that capacity, to be able to do that through using some grant funds.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, we don't actually, and I might have been a little misleading there, the city doesn't actually do any of that collection
It's the other
and
way
distribution. We're just, as mandated by this legislation, just really required to collect the data on how much is being generated and trying to ensure that there's adequate capacity for the recovery and distribution of what's being generated.
So with the schools, because I think you mentioned the school cafeterias are part of that.
They would be at tier 2.
So in that tier 2, my question there is, could that be also a recovery?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact.
She's like, yes, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
they as part of that tier 2 program, we would be contacting them and tracking how much they generate, and then, hopefully being able to, confirm that there's capacity to collect what they're generating.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great. Commissioner Evanoff.
More comments than questions, actually. SB 1383 is an enormous challenge for cities. The scale of and the scope of it is unbelievable, basically offsetting all your green waste. Everything has to be accounted for. And so it's an enormous challenge, and Temecula is, as usual, on the cutting edge, in front of all of this, partnering early with CR&R. They have 2 giant digesters, anaerobic digesters. If you haven't had a chance to visit and tour the facilities, world-class, world technology leading facility that takes the green waste. They have here's a phrase you haven't heard, a proprietary blend of microbes that will digest the stuff within about a month or so, producing both solid waste, liquid waste, as well as methane, which we are partners, so for the record, they do store that gas actually in our pipes, and then they use it for their trucks. World-class, world-leading. And the other thing, if you ever have a chance to visit Feed America's Riverside facilities, the logistics that they do, moving that food in and out and serving the other is off the hook. It's just the scale of which the folks are dealing with. Some cities don't have this and truly will be looking at having mulch up to their knees because they don't know what to do with all this stuff, and they have to figure it out. So applaud Temecula for being really in front of all of this.
Yeah, and that's really, a lot of that credit goes to CR&R, who took the initiative to build the anaerobic digester facility to be able to accommodate all of that green and organic matter. A lot of cities in the state don't have that, and they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do with all that material. So yeah, a lot of credit to CR&R for that too. 2
more comments. I understand CR&R is going to actually double that thing in size to help deal with SB 1383. And lastly, probably the most important thing tonight is don't recycle your pizza boxes, put it in the green waste. That's what they do now. So that's how you process it. A little public service announcement.
Commissioner Wilson.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here and just enlighten us. So now I feel I have a little bit more understanding, and I will put my proper material in the proper location.
Okay.
I was thinking about there needs to be a tier 3, and that needs to be at our home, that we need to start recycling properly, and maybe something can be done with that consumption.
Well, your food waste is actually supposed to go in your green bin now. And so, and we actually have some small food waste bins that we would be happy to distribute to you, the commission and any of your neighbors, so that you can put your food waste in that little bin under your sink and then go dump it in your green bin every
No,
week.
yeah, thank you for that. And for those that are watching too, now they just learned something new also.
Yes.
So great, thank you so much.
Go ahead. All right. Pat, thanks a lot for everything you do. Like they said, Temecula's always at the lead of getting ahead of these things. With the garbage bins, when I look on my street, there's multiple colors. So I have a black, a green, and a blue. Oh, I was told that the organic goes in black, and now you tell me green. I still have a black, green, and blue, and some people just have the blue and gray. So I'm trying to figure out this color scheme that's going on.
Yeah, it is a little confusing because they did change some of the color for each of the different streams. The black is the refuse, the blue is the recycle, and the green is the greens. That's the plan going forward. I believe in years past they had a gray bin that was for refuse.
Yeah.
I think gray was recycling, and then I think they upgraded to the blue for recycling.
So
I know personally I have a black one, a blue one, a gray one, and 2 green ones, so.
Actually, this
My blue and gray are
legislation,
recycling.
this legislation did establish what the colors of the bins for the different streams is supposed to be by a future year. And so over the next 5 years or so, CR&R should be changing those out. But it is ultimately black for refuse, blue for recycle, and green for greens.
Okay, great. I got the right colors. Love it. And I was reading here, any 75% reduction of organic waste by 2025. Any numbers coming out? Do we have any percentage of where we are now with it, or how are they tracking that?
That's a good question on a statewide level. We are in full compliance now because, our mandate was that we just have the service available to all of both residential and commercial customers. And the residential recycling of both the greens and now the food waste, that's been in place for a few years now. Over the last couple of years, we've done the commercial. So now all commercial businesses, multifamily complexes are all have the refuse recycling greens, and the food waste from those different businesses and communities are all to go into the green bins now.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Pat. It's interesting, they have been doing this in Europe, obviously, for years, and they don't have a garbage disposal in their sink, so I guess they just have always been using this little compost, little trash can. And so are we trying to deter people from using their garbage disposal in their sinks, or how does that work?
Not necessarily, but any, food waste that they can not put in the trash. That's the whole idea, is just don't put the organics, the food waste in your trash that then goes to the landfill. Let's get it into that green bin so that it will go to the anaerobic digester and then be recycled.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much. We know you've had a really long day with the rest of our city employees. So you at 7 a.m., see you at 7 p.m. Thank you for all of that. We didn't know you did all of this, and you're amazing, and we appreciate you. Thanks a million.
You're welcome. Yeah, and if you ever all have any questions about any of your, solid waste, trash, or recycling issues or anything like that, feel free to let us know. And like I said, we partner with CR&R, and we have a good relationship with them, so we're happy to work out whatever issues you have on those services.
Perfect.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair, I think Commissioner Evanthoff
one more
had
thing.
one more question.
One more public service announcement, which is that the food waste goes directly into the bin, not into a bag, unless it's a paper bag.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of gross.
We'll make a note.
It's kind of gross, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention from a legislative perspective right now with SB 1383, we were engaged with CR&R even before the thing was passed. So Pat, through Public Works, was engaged. I, as Ledge Director, was engaged. We were working with Alex over at CR&R to mitigate the requirements of the bill. And some of the things that we now have phased, as we need to meet phased requirements, this you need to do by 2022, this you need to do by 24, 26, that was not the original course of action. The original course of action was rip the Band-Aid off, and cities need to do all of this today. And so, just this is where it's really, really important, where we have directors like Pat Thomas who are, from an industry standpoint, engaged when this stuff is in dialogue and in discussion, rather than waiting for something to be done to the city. So I definitely want to mention that Pat was on the forefront of this as well.
Very impressive. Thank you so
All right,
much for
thank
all you
you.
do.
The
We
best
appreciate it.
public works director in the United States of America. Just have to say.
Thank you.
All righty, we're going to have Community Mission of Hope next.
Hello. Hello, my name is Allison Willits. I am the director with Community Mission of Hope and Rancho Damacitas. What a supportive group this is. I had such a great time listening to everybody, and I am learning a lot too. So thanks for inviting me back. I always enjoy being here. Thank you to Chair Steed and all of the commissioners for being so supportive of Community Mission of Hope and Rancho Damacitas over the last few decades. A few weekends ago, we had, full transparency, Denise Wilson, one of our board members, out at one of our houses cleaning and doing backyards and all kinds of fun stuff. And of course, we saw Commissioner Faulkner last weekend also at our open house out at our Rancho Damacitas. So I just always feel the love from the city of Temecula, not only with your presence, but also with funding, the city reinvestment funding. Amazing CDBG funds, CSF funding. The partnership that we have had has allowed us to do what we are doing for the community, has allowed us to make the impact even greater. And so I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for that. You also have your core team here who we love with all of our hearts. I saw Mike Martinez this morning. I was also there at 7 a.m. So if my eyes start to fade, you all know why. But just thank you for all you do. I appreciate all of that. So I've asked to speak today about food insecurity and our food programs. We do have other programs within our organization, and so I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But our mission really is to end hunger and homelessness in Southwest Riverside County for current and for future generations. Our food pantry has been around since 2009. It was started originally as a parking lot ministry, and so we were in the parking lot of Rancho Community Church. The way many, many wonderful organizations start is through that community grassroots organization. And we have, at that point, we were serving 150 families approximately every Thursday. And when I came on in 2013, we were running out of food, and so I came on, and that was my goal, was to make sure that we never ran out of food again. And really the way that we did that was through partnering with our community. So the first thing that we did was we went to Temecula Valley Unified School District and started doing food drives with kindergarten through fifth graders who absolutely love to fill a bag up with food and help somebody in need. And their parents enjoy helping them as well, and they like to win a pizza party on top of all of that. So we were able to not really ever purchase food and never run out of food since then. Currently, we are in a 7,000 square foot building over off Ryder Way, Winchester and Jefferson. And not only do we have our food pantry there that's open 5 days a week, we also have a resource center. So back around 2016 or so, we started our resource center over there. We are partners with Feeding America, and we have given out annually last year 800,000 pounds of food, and that is the equivalent of over $1 million in donated food. So we are saving the community lots of money, helping people who are living paycheck to paycheck, who are just having a little trouble making ends meet. You can imagine now, and with inflation and a gallon of milk being $7 and those sort of things, how much organizations like ours, like Western Eagle, really come into play to help people be able to pay their rent and to be able to get their medical supplies and those sort of things. In Riverside County, 200,000 people face food insecurity, and that's according to Feeding America's numbers, 2021 numbers. 75,000 of those are children. Last year at our facility, we had 22,000 visits to our food pantry. We served 1,600 unique individuals, and of those unique individuals, 30% of those were children, so they're families with children, 25% were seniors, and 48% identified as people of color. We give out approximately 250 food boxes each week. Our goal this year really is to work on making that a healthy food box. When you are working with donations, there is the old adage, you get what you get, kind of, and you don't make a fit, and that is not good enough for us. That is just not good enough. So we did a survey. We do surveys with our clients, and so our last survey asked them what was the top 5 things that were missing in the food box that we were giving them. Of course, you won't be surprised to know it's milk, eggs, cheese, butter, meat, and produce. So all of the things that we get when we go to the grocery store. And so we have been we got a generous grant from the Bishop's Storehouse. And I'm not sure if you're all familiar with the Bishop's Storehouse. It's part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so they have a mini market, basically, for their congregants who are in need. And they also are incredibly generous with what they have. And so each year we would get a $5,000 grant from them. And last year we talked about kind of the surveys, we talked about our trying to get, healthier things in the box. And they gave us a grant for $15,000. Now, when you buy milk from them, it isn't $6 or $7 a gallon. It's $2 a gallon. And so we've been able to really, really stretch that money, as well as with the money that we've got from our CSF grants, which has also helped us be able to do that. So that's really our goal this year, is to make sure that every time somebody gets a food box, we get a lot of cookies, cakes, and donuts that are donated, and we love those too, but we want to make sure that there's some healthy food options in there. We still need a produce partner, and so for many, many years, we had a wonderful farmer who donated his land out in Fallbrook, Rainbow, actually, and he retired, and with him, that program also retired. And so I was really, really excited today to hear about the Smart and Final Extra that's going to be coming in over off 79, that they're one of their priorities is produce, so I hope to get with them. So if anybody has any, contacts over there, we would definitely like to be their food rescue partner and work with them. What else do we do over at our food pantry? We also do USDA. So monthly, we have a large truck that comes with thousands of pounds of food, and that's all of those non-perishable items. USDA is now contracted through Feeding America, and so we pack that up and we give that out as well. We do day bags also for our neighbors without homes, so I know we talked a little bit about that earlier. The way our program works is, post-COVID, is a drive-through. So it's very easy for people. They just drive their car through, open up their trunk, we put the food inside, and they get to come once a week. And they get a good amount of food. Our day bags for our neighbors without homes, they can come every single day. And so each morning we'll pack up a bag that has a kind of a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and some water in it, and so that they can, have a meal that doesn't need to be cooked. And that's kind of where our Housing Resource Center comes in too. We also, work with our homeless neighbors to try and get them the resources that they need, as well as other people who come in for that resource center as well. We also do hygiene kits, and that's going to be, we focus on, soap, shampoo, toothpaste, those sort of things. We also have a home delivery program, so I know we talked a little bit about that earlier. We have about 40 families on our home delivery program right now, homebound seniors, homebound folks who may be disabled, or just not have a car. That is also, transportation is also an issue for people getting out to get their food. You asked a little bit about that. We are 400 volunteers strong last year who came through our organization. And believe it or not, we still don't have enough home delivery drivers. And so we are definitely looking for more people to do that as we get called and our population gets older and they need a little bit more help. We also work with Feeding America. We are part of their HERO program. And that's the Homebound Emergency Response Outreach. And what that means is that anybody in our area, actually in Southwest Riverside County or in Feeding America's jurisdiction, needs home delivery, they simply call Feeding America, and Feeding America does one of two things. They either call one of their volunteers who are in the vicinity of the person who is calling, or they call DoorDash. And so we have a little partnership with DoorDash as well. And so Feeding America asked, as a partner, would we be willing to provide the food for that? So Feeding America is out in Riverside. You have somebody who's in Temecula or somebody who's in Marietta, and they can't get out there, but they need some food delivered. They will come to our facility. They don't need to sign up, and they don't need to do all those things. You know, they just come through our food line. We have a partnership with them already, and they pick up the food and they deliver it to them. Our only stipulation was that we could put our marketing materials and our things like that in there so that person would know that this doesn't have to be a one-time, food delivery for them, that they could count on us for the rest of the year. And so while they can't share those people's information with us, we can give our information out. And we actually let the driver know, whether they're DoorDash or what, we kind of prep them up of what to say when they deliver the food. And so it's been a good program to work with, and that is one way for homebound folks to get food. We have a ton of partnerships. We definitely could never do this alone. The bulk of our food is donated from the community. So that's where the bulk of our food comes from, our non-perishable food. And goes back to what I said in the beginning of our partnership with Temecula Valley School District. So many schools, incredibly generous, a generous community. And so we've worked with them for many years, of course, until COVID happened and everyone was doing school from home, and we didn't know what we were going to do. We thought, oh my gosh, they sustain us. And we were sustained by this community, churches, realtors, Rotary clubs, women's clubs. Everyone came out from anywhere and really sustained us. And so we do lots of food drives all year long. We provide bins and things like that. We have a truck that we rent to go pick those up and drop those off, and we try to make it really, really easy for people. Then we work with about 10 grocery partners, so all the big markets that are around here, and it takes about 40 volunteers who are driving every day, their own trucks and vehicles. They're using their own gas to go out to these stores and pick up the food and then bring it back to us every day. That is in our partnership with Feeding America. We also get vouchers from Western Eagle, so sometimes the food that we give out may not be enough, and so we'd like to supplement that with some of those vouchers, so thank you to them. As I mentioned earlier, we did have 400 volunteers come through last year, and being the REDI Commission, I love the piece of our organization is that we work with Care Right and TMI, and we work with adults with special needs, and they run our food pantry. So they come with their coaches, and there's about three folks to one coach, and it is really a joy to work with these folks every day and to know the impact that they're making with the skills that they have, and that we're able to be a part of that is just, I love it. What else? We really pride ourselves on being a zero waste facility. So when you were talking about SB 1383, that food rescue program that I was talking about, that 1,000 pounds of food, all of that isn't from the grocery stores. I actually don't have that number with me right now, but I would suspect it's probably a third of that or so is rescued from the grocery stores. And so that would be going into the trash can. And even through all of that, there is still some of that food that really isn't fit to be served, as you can imagine. So we go through and we, sort through all of that. We work with 3 local farmers who then take what isn't really fit for human consumption, and they take it to pig farmers or they take it to their goats, things like that. That Cal Recycling grant, yes, I would like to talk to you about that as soon as possible. One of my colleagues out in Menifee, Dawn at the Menifee Cupboard, she worked with the city with her city, and they were able to secure a grant, and she's able to do a lot more than she was before, so I definitely would love to talk about that. The great thing about our organization, as I kind of said before, We do food, and we do it really well, but you come in for food and you get a lot more. Our Housing Resource Center, which has been there for about 5 years, has helped over 100 people get into permanent housing or not lose their housing through providing financial aid. We help folks navigate the Section 8 and housing system. We have workforce development in our building who is there every Thursday, helping people looking for jobs, resumes, job training. They do a wonderful job, and that partnership has been going on for over a year. We had extra offices, and so the idea is to open the doors up to as many different organizations who can come in, so you have a little bit more of a one-stop shop. Rather than sending them here or there, we can kind of do it all in-house. We offer clothing vouchers and DMV vouchers, and really what we do is listen to people, love on them, and just guide them as much as we possibly can. So what else do we want to talk about? I see. Can you see this? Do I push on this? Can you see the slide? You cannot see the slide. No? Okay, we're going to go back. Now you can see the slide. Okay, well, that's not the one we want. Sorry. I should have practiced. There we go. Before I go, I definitely do want to talk about one of our other programs that we have. Recently, we merged with Rancho Damacitas, and we have a program out there called Empowerment Village. This program is housing for single moms and their children, so children age 0 up to 8. And we currently have 5 openings. We recently did a full-blown remodel of the campus with Lennar Homes, $265,000 grant from Lennar Homes. And so those homes are ready and we're open, and we really need to get the word out. And so I wanted to let you all know that, you know, if you know moms who are out there who are struggling, who, you know, are low income and who are ready and wanting to live in shared living, we give classes in financial literacy, parenting, and really have a focus on you know, personal wellness. Please send them either to our website or give them our phone number. We would like to take any and all calls, whether they qualify or they don't. We really would like to identify what the needs are with the population there, and we're keeping good data on all of the calls that we get. And then the other thing, I would be remiss if I didn't do this. We wear a lot of hats here. So now I am the marketing person. We also would like to invite you all to our upcoming gala. It's our Hunger to Hope Gala, and it is September 28th. It's on a Thursday evening, so as your week winds down, come and join us. We have Carolyn Solar, and she is the CEO of Feeding America here in the IE, and she is going to be speaking. We will also have our auctioneer, who is pretty much a stand-up comedian, and it's out in Duluth at a beautiful, beautiful barn. One of our board members, just a gorgeous place to spend the evening. We will also have testimonials from our clients, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about our program and how the impact of coming in for food and leaving with a lot more has you know, changed some lives and transformed some lives. So we'd love to have you all there. Bring your friends and family. And thank you. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Wonderful. That was a lot of information. I don't know how you keep it all in there, but that was amazing. So thank you for all you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioners?
So I just wanted to applaud you and the organization because you guys do so much. And I remember when the food was getting low and everybody was doing food drives just to, canned food drives just to get some food in there. So thank you for weathering the storm for that. Is there any way we could probably get that flyer in a PDF so that we can put it out on social media for the Empowerment Village?
Yes, and I did send it to Naomi, all of those flyers to her, but I can send them to you as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And I just wanted to say, I've been in the Empowerment Village, and the homes are fabulous.
Wonderful.
It's like model homes, and it comes completely with furniture, and they're gorgeous. So if you know someone that's out, down on their luck and need a place to stay and get classes and education and all that, the Empowerment Village is the place.
It is.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? You good?
So I had a chance to come over to Mission of Hope, and you walked me through, and I tried to volunteer, and the guy said, we got enough, we don't need you. And you showed me how you guys were housing people up front and, taking the things in. So just a great organization, great setup. You guys do great work, so thank you for allowing me to come in and check it out, and had a great time. Rancho Damascetus when I came out as well, getting a tour, and meeting everybody. So appreciate what you do. Keep doing what you're doing, and let us know how we can continue to support you.
Yeah, the summer is really great for us. We get a lot of teenagers who are doing their community service work, and so we always prioritize them because we are open during their school hours, and so we try and take as many of them. And of course, we want them to get the experience as well. We are looking for volunteers for certain positions, and so one is a client advocate that we're looking for right now, and that's somebody who sits one-on-one with our clients. They do intake with them, and then they also go a little further than that. So it really is like a year-long commitment, which I know is a long commitment for a volunteer. So it takes kind of that special person who, goes through like a 3-month training process. And so once we do that, we like to get those other 9 months of work out of them. But we are looking currently for drivers to deliver to homebound seniors or just homebound people in general. And then we are also looking for a committed volunteer out at our Rancho Damascetus property for an office, kind of an office person. And again, it's a committed position. So the drop-ins, how many days till school starts? Come back. We'll be ready for you. Thank
Ladies?
you.
Crystal?
I just want to comment and tell you how evident it is that you are steadfastly passionate about this. That it just beams right off of you.
Oh.
I really want to tell you that it takes a lot to meet people where they are, and you are doing that. You are meeting people where they are in all aspects. So thank you so much for doing that. Truly.
Well, thank you. We are, it's a wonderful organization. It's a pleasure an honor to be able to work with them and for them. And so I appreciate the comments.
Commissioner Deutsch?
I'll take it.
I'm good with the yay. That's what I got for you.
I'll take it. We
You
will
are
take it.
working really, really hard. It's super envious, and I am so grateful for everything that you're doing in the community. So yeah, yay, double yay.
Well, thank
So
you. I
thank
will
you.
take all of these back to the volunteers and the staff and of course to the board as well, so that they know. So appreciate
Yeah,
it.
definitely get us the flyers though, so that we can plaster social media with anything that we
Perfect.
can do for you.
Will do.
And
Thank you.
Allison, we'll get the gala flyer out to council as well.
Perfect.
So that, in fact, we'll just get it out to all of our boards and commissions, as well as the city council and the exec team, so that if anybody is interested in coming to the gala, they're able to connect.
Well, now I'll give you a round of applause.
Oh, no, you don't need to give me a round of applause. It's our pleasure to help you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I have a couple of just two quick things. Since we're all about inclusion, do you ever have any single dads?
We
that are
haven't yet.
interested? Okay.
We have not yet, but we have talked about it, but we
Okay.
haven't yet. So the program that started back in like 2019, COVID hit. So we kind of rebuilt that program, and so we're waiting for that one to get solidified and strong, and all of those things before we do that. We do have a house that's a little farther away from the other ones that we've kind of toyed with that, because we have had a few calls, not many,
Okay.
but we have had a few. So we're, like I said, we're keeping track of all that data. Where is the need? We want to meet the need, and so that's what we're looking to do.
Love
but
it. Love that
good
you're open
idea.
to that, because you just never know. And then in regards to people, like we say, with inflation and everything else, a lot of people are struggling to put food on the table. Is there a criteria they need to meet? Is there somewhere they need to sign up to get food from you?
Yeah, so when you come into our right-of-way location, you can make an appointment or you can walk in, and you do need to prove that you are a resident of our service area. Because there are food pantries like ours who also receive city funds in Menifee and Lake Elsinore and, surrounding cities. If you are from one of those cities, we really ask that you go there. And so you also have to prove needs, so you do proof of income, we have proof of residency. Again, we're spending about an hour with each client who comes in doing an intake. Sometimes the numbers and the story aren't the same, and so there's always gray areas. We also have a lot of our clients who work in Temecula, but maybe they live outside, and so the pantry is closed and they're at work, so of course, anybody who works in Temecula is also qualified to come into our pantry. But there is qualifications.
Okay, that's great to know. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you being here.
Bye-bye.
And last but not least, Western Eagle Foundation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for your constant support for the Temecula Valley and just everywhere in our community. My name is Savannah Sija. I am here on behalf of Western Eagle Foundation. This foundation was started by my grandpa, who is on the right there, and that would be me on the left. He started the foundation back in 1991 to try to have the community have a place to go not only have and go and buy more affordable food and home items, but just to address food insecurity with dignity. This is a third generational management company, starting with my grandpa. My dad slowly started working with him starting back in the 90s, and then ever since I've been 16 and able to drive into work, I've been working there ever since. Being 21 years old and working there for the past 5 years has genuinely been the biggest, and greatest gift of my life, and I will forever be so thankful, and just for the Valley for always supporting us. Western Eagle, I guess I should say my grandpa started Western Eagle just to mainly have the community to come to a place to come together, but just basically help food insecurity and to be able to have a place where people can go and buy foods that would actually be, how can I say it, disposed of and not in a good way. Terrible terminology, sorry about that. But so he basically started that, and so it kind of goes back to sustainability. Sustainability has been an important part of our company and to our board for the past 30 years to carry out the mission of Western Eagle Foundation. We buy salvage and wholesale products for our store, which funds our foundation, our food box program, and our emergency free food box program. We are a privately run foundation, and we are funded through store proceeds, grants, and donations. Western Eagle has an abundance of programs, one being our food and home store that is a 44,000 square foot warehouse that is open 7 days a week to the general public. We also have our customized food box program where you can see this mom and her son. It's basically a pre-designed box of food that has a bunch of staples inside, like canned goods, milk. It definitely depends on what we can get in just based off distribution and stuff, but mainly staples. And so we are open to the general public 7 days a week. You don't need to qualify. And we also have our community food bank where our partners come every Thursday to distribute bulk food pallets that we receive through our distribution partners. And our partners then distribute this bulk food throughout the valley to an abundance of churches and groups and organizations. We also have our emergency free food box program that recently started based off of grant funding that is available twice a month, that is available to people that it's mainly income-based, so they have to fill out a self-certification form. Western Eagle also has a work development for at-risk groups. We have partners with U-Turn for Christ for over 2 decades, if you guys aren't familiar with them. They are a Christian recovery program for drug and alcohol rehabilitation. This organization has worked very closely with us for the past 2 decades, and we seriously would not be here without them and Free and D and Victory Outreach and an abundance of other groups, and we seriously are volunteer-based, so without them, we would not be here today. Western Eagle also has Senior Discount Day, where seniors 55 and older get 20% off their bill. Definitely the busiest day of the week. I personally love that day. Just you genuinely see the people that really not only love and deserve and obviously need the help, but just the people that have been around for 20 years. And they're like, I have watched you grow up, and the fact that now you're ringing me up. It's a very beautiful concept, and there's genuinely nothing like it. Let's see here. So community impact, Western Eagle is dedicated to providing for the community. Working in the front lines of our foundation has made me truly realize the need for assistance that many individuals have. I have customers come up to me and my coworkers quite often expressing how they could not make ends meet if it wasn't for our foundation, and it truly is so touching because it's not only like that we're helping them, but it takes a lot for someone to come up to you and say how much it actually does help them. And so for that alone, it is the biggest gift. And hearing these touching stories and visually seeing the community impact that Western Eagle has had is truly touching and drives us to continue serving the community. More than 1,000 families take advantage of our customized food box program, 12,000 boxes annually, and all participants register with their zip code, so we kind of get an idea of where these individuals are coming, whether it's all throughout Riverside. I've had people come from Oceanside to Escondido just to go and get these boxes, and whether they buy for an abundance of people or just for them, it's a truly amazing program. Our community food bank, we have served 350,000 members annually, and so we're able to give out bulk food pallets that really help out all the people of the valley. And then recently, we started our emergency free food bag program. I actually am the one that is giving the boxes out each month or bi-weekly, and it is truly touching to see not only the new people that are coming in from it, but our customers that I've been serving, and you don't realize that, wait, they actually do need this help, and like the community is full of that. And so there is a self-certification form that needs to be filled out, very simple, and Western Eagle collects this data and provides monthly reports so that we can get grant funding. So as for organizational data, Western Eagle Foundation work development program includes both full-time and part-time volunteers with a vast amount of different groups, such as U-Turn for Christ, as I previously mentioned, Free and D, Victory Outreach, Oak Grove, as well as other addiction recovery groups and intellectually disabled adults. Our volunteer program also includes students with special needs from local school districts, and according to our data, our volunteers and staff include 21% African American, 35% Latinx, 4% Asian Pacific, 40% other, and people with disabilities include 36%, our seniors are 9%, and our veterans are 8%. And I, again, am on the front lines, and I'm seeing these people, and every single one of them is truly helping our organization, and we feel that we're helping them in a sense, because I don't think that there's enough organizations out there that allow people to get back into the real life world. Like, I have seen it time and time again where people are just shut doors on, like even with someone with their ducks aligned, with school, with everything, and they still get, shut down, and it's not fair. And so I think that more organizations do need to be like this, like volunteer groups that Community Mission of Hope has, and so that is something that we definitely need to highlight on more. But please check out our website for more information. Again, thank you so much for having me and always supporting us, and we are just truly thankful to be here today. So thank you. Have any
Wonderful.
questions?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any comments, questions?
Yes, mine is short and sweet. I just wanted to say you did a beautiful presentation. I wanted to know if we could get copies of the slides, because I love the way the organizational data that you provided, the breakdown of it, and you're very inclusive. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, your organization.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I mean, your passion, your confidence. You said 21 years old?
21.
Sheesh. We need to bottle you up. So your energy and your passion about this is just truly amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing, but I want to also applaud you guys for keeping data. If you're a large company and you're trying to identify really recipients of grants and such, having the data is huge for going after these grants. For a large company, makes our job easier when we are looking around the room trying to figure out who we give to. So terrific. Thank you. Thank you all for all the services that you guys do for the community.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Great job, great presentation. I have been to your facility. It's well designed and run. It's it's large aisles, so it's accessible for everyone to get through there. Those things matter, and they're absolutely right. The data that you're keeping is great because it's going to come in pretty handy. It's critical. But what you're doing to become a inclusive organization as well is really touching. So on both sides, not only who you serve, but as a customer base, but also who you are bringing in as a volunteer base and helping to support as well, because those are essential life skills that sometimes get overlooked or missed with certain populations. So I appreciate that and applaud you guys for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Deutsch?
Yeah, I was amazed that this is a third-generation operation. That is so incredible in that first photo that you shared, because it's so often that our kids don't want to go into the same stuff that we are doing,
Yeah.
or don't want to support that,
Most
especially if
definitely.
you've been around it a long time.
Most definitely. I think that being an only child, my dad's an only child, so like my family has always been my life. I've always been around them ever since I was 6 months. Like I was in the building at all times. And so I think it's just, that's the reason I'm here today. And like some people, especially at my age, don't necessarily feel that immediately. So I know it's a gift and I just am so thankful. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate
Well, we're
you
thankful too.
being here today. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Your family and you are a treasure for this community. We appreciate you, all the hard work you do, and keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, well, we had some amazing reports tonight. That was really, really interesting, and I think it answered a lot of questions, both for the commissioners here and for our community as a whole. Lots of direction, lots of data, lots of information, so thank you all for being here. We truly appreciate it. We're going to move on to the part of the meeting where it's commissioners' reports. Does anybody have a report? Go ahead, Adam.
Real quick, to those NGOs that are always seeking grants, cast a very wide net, wider than you think you need to cast. Go for, if you have a relationship with a tribe that's maybe not in the area, go. Never hurts to ask. One of the things, been running around and reaching out to a variety of different groups, but tonight I think it's important that we mention that we need to keep Lahaina and Maui in our thoughts, in our prayers, and if you want to, there are different organizations that are just starting to get the aid going, that being the Hawaii Community Foundation, and of course American Red Cross, as well as a host of others, but pretty devastating. A lot of the fires hit low-income areas. Even though it's Maui, there are low-income areas, and the fire was particularly devastating to those communities. So please keep them in your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
Short and sweet. We were off for what, a month? Seems like 3 months. But I just have to shed some light on our event this morning, the state of the city. This was probably by far the best one that I've been to in 15 years. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but it was awesome. So if you were not there, you should look online. I'm sure the video will be up with the footage. It was awesome. I'm so proud to be a member of the city of Temecula. Thank you.
Commissioner Faulkner?
Sheesh, I know you're not talking. You guys see this commissioner over here, my ear messing my thoughts up. So I want to, hats off to, we haven't met in a while, so to community services, 4th of July event, great, awesome, had a great time there. Commission and board appreciation breakfast, amazing, keep doing that, loved it. And I had a chance to be the guest speaker at the intern appreciation luncheon, and spent some time talking to those young people. Man, we got some great minds, some great leaders coming up underneath us. And one of the things that was brought out there is our intern program is one of the only, like in the area, we had people coming from LA. I talked to someone from LA, talked to one from Escondido, Oceanside, coming here to be a part of what Temecula has. It just goes to show you how forward-leaning our leaders are here in our community. We talked about Pat and his team already getting ahead with CRR. The community services is always looking ahead, so this is a city you want to be a part of. So for those people that are looking to move to Temecula, come on, we want you here. So I just want to make sure I brought that in. Again, state of the city, amazing. That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, Pastor Ian?
So, You're right, it's been a while, I feel like. I just want to commend everyone on, I was able to attend the National Night Out. That was great. I saw Erica, I saw our friendly face of our Riverside Sheriff's Officer back there. And I miss seeing Commissioner Faulkner, but I know he was there, as always. But it was really great just to see all of our agencies come together and provide a great environment for our families and our kids to be able to not only aspire to certain careers, but also feel safe within the community. I think that was really, really important from a very young age. One thing I did do is I ran a youth leadership course, and I just wanted to one of the biggest observations that I had while I ran it was I had 32 youth participants and a staff of about 14. And there are several modules that we discussed that talked about diversity. And one of it was kind of interesting to see because there was my staff, who were all youth, was very hesitant in terms of how to approach the subject matter. And the subject matter ranged from pretty much everything you can think of in terms of encompassing diversity. And they were really worried, especially when we started getting into some of those more sensitive type of topics, which is pretty much all of them, right? So it was one of the biggest thing in talking to them and learning from them, their biggest hesitation was having adults approach these topics from a place of opinion or bias versus a place of equity and openness and just initiating and facilitating a discussion. And so I wanted to just bring that up in terms of as we go about doing our jobs within the community to make sure that we are approaching that. And I know this is sort of the group that doesn't do that, but also reminding others who maybe aren't in this space that when these conversations are happening, to take it to a place where it's just facilitating the discussion so we can have a discussion. And it's more important that is the case when we're talking with our youth. And that was profound, you know. We think about that a lot sometimes as adults, but the impact that we have on our kids that we obviously have an impact on, we need to remember that a lot of the time so that they can grow up in a place where we can have these discussions and also teach them to be the critical thinkers that we want them to be. This morning's State of the City was amazing. Just really, really super excited. It just was a ton of hype. It was really well done. I'm kind of with my colleague, Commissioner Wilson over there. It was great, one of the best ones. So proud to see Mayor Schwank up there. And I gotta say, that room echoed with so much applause and just happiness and excitement, and that is years of dedication and work, of connections, and making sure you're working and living and breathing and fostering those connections. That's a lot of time and a lot of dedication, and it was evident this morning with just over 900 people in the room. It was impressive. So thank you not only to the chamber, but also the city as well. You guys did an A++ job, so thank you. And also, I just want to wish all of our kids a great academic school year as they head out on Monday. So with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Dwight.
I want to say first that tonight was incredibly inspirational, and I sleep better knowing that you are out there. I always wish that I could do more and more and more for the community, and it is so nice to know that there are these amazing organizations who are doing such great work and such important things. Tonight was an incredibly inspirational evening for me, and I am so glad that we got this opportunity to hear from you all. I also want to give my thanks to everyone involved in this morning's State of the City, because that was amazing, and I want to thank Randy and everyone who was involved in the community breakfast. Or in the appreciation breakfast. That was a nice opportunity to meet other commissioners, and I always like a more social chance to get to know my colleagues up here a little bit better. I also want to just say, as we've heard, with school starting tomorrow, I feel like I'm speaking to the cameras and to the void and to anybody who's out there. I want the students to remember that we are the race, equity, diversity, and inclusion panel for the city. And we are here for you, and we have your back. As you are starting the school year, please know that we are here for you. Any students who need anything, find us, whatever we can do, but we are committed to promoting race, equity, diversity, and inclusion in the city, and that is this commission's responsibility. So don't forget that we're here, and we certainly won't forget that you're out there. It is a partnership.
Great, I love it. Thank you so much. And to echo that, I mean, our State of the City address this morning was so inclusive and so diverse. I mean, it really shows that our city really puts its money where its mouth is. So, and all of us here are honored to be part of doing what we do, but then seeing that the city is carrying out that message. It was beautiful to watch. It was great to see all those faces, our whole community coming together, not only what was on the videos, but also just in the audience. It was such a diverse group that it was amazing. Just a little reminder that the city does have a Sunset Market. It's the second and fourth Wednesday of every month right here at City Hall. And they have food trucks and just all different kinds of food. It's just fun, music. It's got a very small town feel, so it's really fun. If you want somewhere fun to take your family on a nice summer's evening, it's going to be going till the end of September, I believe. So that's it for me. I want to echo what everybody else said. Did you want to say something, Erica?
Sorry, yes, with the Sunset Market, it will actually be going year-round, except for that month between December and January when the ice rink is up.
Okay, perfect.
So other than that, it will be a year-round event.
Okay,
Thank you for
great.
promoting it. We're
Okay,
really excited
wonderful.
about it.
It's really fun. Great, so let's move on to our executive director report.
Chair Steed, I have nothing for you all tonight other than we look forward to seeing you in September when we will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. We've already got some inquiries from NAREP and others about attending, so we are definitely looking forward to that. And of course, our student clubs from Chaparral and Great Oak and Temecula Valley, they participated last year. I'm sure they'll be participating again this year as well. So we look forward to our next meeting.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And a big shout out to Chris back there, our AV guy. We appreciate you. Thanks for staying awake and staying with us. And we'll go ahead and adjourn for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you.